I'm doing it, guys. I'm doing what the people want. Wait, what? What did he sound like?
Pride in being an insufferable know-it-all.
He's got a point.
So today we are going to be looking at Nokk. I'm going to do a more in-depth guide today. If you haven't seen my basic guide, I'm going to have that in the description below, so make sure you watch that before you watch this if you haven't already. And these are the things we are going to be covering today. So we're going to be covering a barricade trick you can do as anyone, but is most efficient with Nokk. We're going to be looking at if the suppressed deagle is better than the muzzle break deagle. We're going to be looking at is Nokk only good for certain maps, and when is she most effective in the round? Do Cav and Nokk have the same play style? And what movements are Nokk silent to? So firstly, we have the barricade trick. This is pretty hard to explain, so I'm just gonna let the video do its job. And this trick goes really well with Nokk, as she's supposed to be sneaky and she doesn't want to be too loud. So pretty cool, huh? So you can just do this when you want to enter the building in the early game and just get in very quietly. So next we're going to be talking about the suppressed deagle versus the muzzle break deagle. Now to answer this question, I would have to say, now this may seem like a surprise, but it's actually the suppressor. Now after discovering more about Nokk and her loadout, I discovered that the suppressor is actually better, and here is why. So first of all, it's good for taking out gadgets silently without giving away your position too much. And the other reason is actually because so the muzzle break is a 2-shot down to everyone apart from 3 armors with rook armor. Yeah, that's with rook armor. And so that's a 2-shot down in a optimal distance. Now you would think, wow, that's cool, let's use the muzzle break. Yeah, the muzzle break does more damage than the suppressor, but the suppressor does the same damage and the same work if you are within 12 meters of the enemy. The only advantage the muzzle break has to the silencer is slight more accuracy, not by much, and the muzzle break has more damage after 12 meters, so it has like a longer drop off. But the play style Nokk has, you are going to be within 12 meters of the enemies anyway, hopefully, so you're better off with the suppressor. I can understand the muzzle break on a deagle if it was someone like Blackbeard, because he's more aggressive and damage based, but for Nokk, if you are running the deagle, I would recommend the suppressed deagle. So is Nokk only good for certain maps, and when is she most effective in the round? So this is true in a sense due to maps having more rotations than others, like how Cafe, there are more ways to maneuver around the map compared to a map like Skyscraper, but this doesn't mean she is useless. On a map like Skyscraper, you just need to hope you can have a decent team that allows you to get flank chances. Like, your teammates should push one side and you sneak around the back. How, like I mentioned in my basic guide, you should spawn alone, away from your team, and go in alone. You just need to be able to carry your own weight as Nokk. As Nokk is a very lone wolf operator, but Nokk's biggest advantage is your teammates pushing different routes to the ones you take and keeping the enemies diverted. Now Nokk is most effective early game and late game. This is due to the fact that in the early game, the defenders are still setting up and aren't expecting anyone to be in the building so early, and obviously they are not going to hear you when you get in the building early. Whereas if it was an Ash like rushing and going in early, you'd hear the explosion or the barricade breaking, whereas with Nokk you wouldn't. Late game she is good because like 2 minutes have passed and it's at the point where you could come from anywhere, and the fact that you make no sound, the enemies are going to find it hard holding multiple angles. That's if there's like 1 or 2 of them left, so it's hard for them to hold multiple angles and they're going to have no idea where you're coming from. And the whole of mid game is just slowly looking around for roamers and hoping your team can do their job. and taking advantage of defenders' mistakes. Just be careful of like the trap ops like Legion, Capcan and Frost, because these are your biggest enemies. Okay, so do Cav and Nokk have the same playstyle? In a sense, yes, they do have very similar roles. Well, in fact, they pretty much have the same role, but just reversed, taking into consideration that one is on defense and the other is on attack. And just recently Cav got a buff so that you can use her gadget again once above 20% of its capacity, the same way as Nokk does. Yeah, meaning you can move more constantly but just in smaller steps, or you wait longer for it to recharge and you can take longer journeys. So it really depends on the situation you're in. But so if you want to be super sneaky, make sure to not move when your gadget is on cooldown, meaning that once your gadget is activated and it's nearly coming to an end, find the closest sort of cover just so you're not in a spot where you can easily get shot while you're waiting for the gadget to recharge. So this is only if you just want to not make a single sound. So you activate it, go as far as you can, and then sit still, wait for it to recharge. Just it all depends on the situation you're in and how much time you have, and so on. So if you understand how Cav is played and you have mastered her, and then Nokk should be easier to pick up. But I believe Nokk is more difficult to play than Cav just due to Nokk's loadout and being on attack, and attacking is always harder than defense. I think Nokk is actually one of the hardest operators to learn in the game, like if not the hardest. So what movements are Nokk silent to? So I tested out what Nokk is silent to and not silent to. I'm gonna let the video play here because you guys will obviously have to hear the audio, so listen carefully. So this is just a more in-depth guide. I'm not too sure if I need to cover anything else. I think having this video combined with the basic guide, I think I've covered a lot. If I find anything else out about her, and then I will keep you guys updated. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and thank you for all the support recently. And as always, have a great day and goodbye.